Welcome in to the channel, Tennessee Podcast. It is November the 17th, 2024. We're doing a midday show today, my friend. There's a basketball game later that I'm going to attend. Austin's got family coming in town. So we're going to do a midday show today, and we're going to talk about how Tennessee falls to Georgia. We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at the good and the bad, because there was some good and there was some bad. But first off, welcome in. I'm your host, Randy, alongside my good friend, Austin Brown. Austin, how we feeling? How we feeling after last night? I know last night was a really tough one for you at the Tennessee Tap House.
Not a sponsor, but maybe someday. But
No ad.
Yeah, it was a rough one. I don't know if you were at the Tap House, you certainly saw how it was for me. I wasn't quiet.
No.
I'm not
You're
quiet
not
on
quiet at
those
all.
games, especially around 9:30-ish. But yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm alive.
Yeah. I'm. You know, it got to the point last night, and everyone was getting pissed and getting mad and screaming at the TV and all that good stuff. I got to the point where I just kind of sat there and watched, because you just kind of felt it happening. You've kind of felt the momentum of the game changing. Tennessee, and I've said this earlier, Tennessee, and people, I don't know what their take is on Tennessee, but I think Tennessee is a heavyweight team, and they went to a battle with another heavyweight team. And you saw that, man. It was a slugfest. Those people were just hitting back and forth until the very end, where Georgia just showed that they were the better team. They were the better team, and they outdid us. And Tennessee's getting closer, but man, I cannot stand the national narrative of Tennessee isn't that great of a team for the committee, but oh my God, if you beat them, that was a really good win. So make up your mind here. The whole committee is so confusing to me, because they don't give Tennessee any credit for anything they've done all year. But then when someone beats Tennessee, it's like, oh wow, that was a really good win. So make up your mind. So I don't know. We've only lost 2 games, but the national media makes it sound like we've lost like 5. So,
Well, yeah. I will say though, Georgia, I'm not going to say they're a better team than us. I'm not going to say that flat out, because I think Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee are all equal. If Georgia comes into Neyland Stadium, they're going to lose. If we go to Athens, we'll lose. And if we go to Bryant-Denny, we're going to lose. And Bama came up here and they'll lose, and they would have lost again. I think that they're all on the same level. And I think the only thing that differs between us and them, based on the national narrative and whatnot, is, well, I do think there's some inherent Tennessee bias, because we haven't been a Goliath of late. They don't buy it yet, and it is what that is. And also, we're not very sexy. We're not very sexy. We haven't passed the eye test. I swear to God, I think if we beat the living hell out of Kentucky, if we hit all those shots against them, and then made it a little more impressive against Mississippi State, I think people are talking about us a lot differently. Because I think, like, just Ole Miss beating Arkansas by 30 plus is really impressive to them. But on paper, these results are fairly equal. But just how it looked better for them. And that's where I feel like the narrative changes a little bit for this team. But
Richard,
but I do feel like we're on the same page.
Richard chimes in on Facebook. We'll get to this in a minute. He said, I really hate to be that guy, but it seems the ref dictated way too much there in that critical third quarter. Everyone saw it. Yeah. I mean, I've said it a million times. I hate to be the guy that says, oh man, the refs really changed the way that game's played or altered the outcome of that game. But man, there was some just calls that were just ridiculously stupid. And you have former football players. I think I saw like former Falcon Roddy White, the wide receiver for the Falcons back in the day. And he basically tweeted out, these refs that's some BS. And listen, we got pushed around at the end of the game. It looked like we got tired. We got outcoached. Carson Beck looked like a freaking Peyton Manning out there. Like, I don't. The thing that I do not understand is when teams play us, they can look like complete and utter ass. And then they come and play us, and it's like, oh my gosh, this team looks unstoppable. Like I will never understand why every team when they play Tennessee, everything just clicks for them. It just clicks. But previous weeks before that, Georgia looked like dog water. They look like shit, and I don't understand. Like it blows me away how teams can just put it together when they play Tennessee. Because Georgia's going to come out probably next week and look like crap, and Beck's going to throw like 5 interceptions or some stupid thing like that. So that's what makes me angry is why does it's always us? I don't know.
Well, when you let him sit there in the pocket without any pressure, you are going to let him look like that. I swear we didn't adjust. They did the same thing to us all night with that number 4. It felt like they were just passing to the same guys all night, and he had time in the pocket because we didn't rush more than 4. And Ole Miss was able to get to him with 4. That's what made that game so outrageous. That's what really shut down Beck. Because I will be honest, this D line, it's the best D line depth wise in the country. Not without a shadow of a doubt. Tennessee has the best depth at D line in the entire country. But Ole Miss does have a better 4 than we do. Their starting 4 is better than our starting 4, and those guys were able to get pressure by rushing just 4, and we just couldn't do that. And Georgia's O line really played the hell of a game. But I do think we should have blitzed. It felt like the same defensive game plan we had against Florida in the swamp last year, and we just let Graham Mertz sit back there and pick us apart the whole first half until he cut his hand open. And that's what I feel like our biggest problem was, that we just let him sit back there comfortably.
I'm not. We're not X's and O's guys. I don't know. I know enough about football, like play calling and stuff. I know enough. I'm not an X's and O's, but I know enough. But what you just said about the defense, how come every time we play someone big, we tuck our tail in defense? Why do we just? There's no blitzing. It's just four down linemen. Why does he do that? Why does Tim Banks' defense, like, why does he allow his coaches to dictate? Why?
I guess it's a bit of like, I guess it's arrogance. It's almost a bit of arrogance. Like, you don't feel like you have to give up that to get pressure. He thinks his D line's so good that he doesn't have to give that up, but he does. You got to go balls to the wall eventually. I mean, I feel like our linebackers never rushed one time. I feel like.
No, well, not having Keenan Pili out there is starting to really shine and really make a difference right now. The later we get into the season. But it baffles me when our defensive game plan just completely changes when we're playing someone that, like when we played Florida, it's just the same crap. It's like blitz the hell out of them. Make them do stupid. Beck is not a smart guy when he's under pressure. You've seen it all season. He's a pick machine. But if you let any decent quarterback, it doesn't have to be decent. It can be below average quarterback stand back there and just look around for days. It baffles me how our defense would just go. The defensive play calling just goes full and stupid. When like, just blitz like you've done all year. Make people feel uncomfortable. That's the reason why people keep complimenting this defense, because we send pressure and we beat the hell out of you. But what the hell was that? You just let him sit back there. What is that? Why do we continually do that? Every time we are in a game that matters. I do not understand.
This game overall, man. At points in this game, I was so freaking proud. I like up 10-0, ready to fight from the go. It felt like we were locked in as locked in could get. And I don't really feel like we fell apart that much. It just felt like things just didn't go our way continually, and they were at home. Things just went a little better for them, and we came up short. I don't feel bad about us. I feel like we're getting better every single week, and I really mean that. The defense.
No,
this was our worst week, but I'm just talking about as a whole.
I think they're getting better too as well, and I don't disagree with that either. I think this Tennessee team, like I said, this team is a heavyweight team, but
They are.
former Tennessee player Byron Moore. We were going back and forth on Twitter, and he brings up the fact that because I said we cannot keep sweeping the coaches need to be kind of called out here because we keep sweeping under the rug because we keep winning, but it's the same. He basically said it's the same, just basic stuff that gets us every time. Just the most basic stuff that can be taught. Don't do this, and we continue to do it. It's penalties, and Roman Whitefield or Roman Whitfield chimes in and says stupid penalties. I agree. It's stupid penalties that seem to never get fixed. Like, why do we always commit these ticky-tack dumb penalties? I hate to tell you, that's coaching. If it continues to happen every single year, there has not ever been a year under Josh Heupel where these ticky-tack things are getting fixed. It's the same penalties over and over and over again. And don't put the words in my mouth, people. Just because I'm criticizing Josh Heupel, you want him fired? Who are we going to get? No, that's not what I'm saying. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying it needs to be fixed. The stupid penalties, just like Roman just said, stupid penalties. They're stupid. They can be easily not happen, but they continue to happen. And they happened a lot in this game against Georgia, and it kicked our butt. It finally came back to bite us.
And it felt like we did a little better this week. I felt like we were a little more. I mean, in that environment, we didn't have as many false starts as I thought we'd have. And
that fourth down false start killed us. When we ended up punting, we were going for it, and then boom, false start.
Yeah,
it's like you can't do that. I get it, but that happens at home too. You can't blame that on being away. Like you just, I don't know. And the O-line played great. It's not like they were getting tons of pressure on Nico. So why do you have to false start?
Occasionally they did, but yeah,
it's the same ticky-tack stuff that rears its ugly head every single week for the last 4 years.
What do you think would happen if Georgia played us? Okay, we'll finish talking about the refs. Yes, we didn't do amazing, but the refs were freaking awful. I mean, that missed false start on Beck. There was a play where like you could clearly see Georgia holding 3 of our players, and we got called for holding on that play. And Jackson Williams was off the field when they called for 12 men. Did you see Heupel's presser when they asked him about that?
Are you talking about return the mic around to the reporter?
Yeah. That tells you like that's as aggressive as Heupel's ever gotten with criticizing officials in pressers. It's bullshit crap and it needs to get fixed. But I'm not saying that's why we lost. And also the freaking missed PI on Squirrel White on 3rd down. I mean, that was the most egregious thing I've ever seen. He grabs both arms down before the ball gets there. That is by definition pass interference. Didn't they call it and then picked it up? Is that what happened?
I think so. Something like that happened.
I mean, he literally grabbed both arms before the ball got there. What else could you possibly call this? And you come and tell me it's not a flag? Out of your mind?
Grim
punches
Shadow
our DB in the face. Sorry,
Grim Shadow leaves a comment, and we're not talking about the Beck false start, but he chimes in and said I'm guessing he's talking about the Beck when he moved. He's like, wasn't a false start. QB is allowed to move backwards before snap, buddy. That was a false start. That was a false start from in any game, anywhere, ever. That's a false start. You cannot move backwards as a quarterback and start the play before the ball is hiked. You can raise your leg to like a silent count or something like that. You cannot move backwards. You can't go backwards. That's a false start. That's a false start today, tomorrow, and forever. So to say that's not a false start is crazy. That it was a false start. So he sounds about and I know you're not here to argue, but I'm telling you my opinion because you shared your opinion, so I'm going to tell you back. He said he thinks the refs were awful last night, but that was not false. Yes, it was.
Yes, I don't know the rule verbatim. I know there can be pre-snap movement, like guys in motion.
when you have
on a jet sweep.
When
or
you
something
have
like that.
every account in the country, in the world, posting that video and saying, "Wow, that was a
Yeah.
missed call," I should tell you everything you need to know. So that
Yeah.
is a false start, and the whole world's telling it's a false start. So I can understand if half the people are like, "That's not a false start. That's not a false start," on like ESPN and all that stuff. But when they're all tweeting that out, wow, that's a missed call. It's a false start. So it's a false start every freaking time. That's a false start. If Nico would have done that, they throw the flag.
And Nico, yeah, man, we didn't turn it over but one time, and that was desperation mode. That is impressive as hell. I think almost all my keys to the game went my way, except we didn't control the run. That we let them run all over us at times, and in the passing game, it was a bad day for the defense, man. I do feel like maybe a little bit of the numbers for this defense were a little inflated based on the competition, but not totally. I mean, Bama is a hell of an elite offense, and we held them in check. And you saw the ceiling for Florida today and other games. That Florida win, I mean, is that not ever gonna that? It's not a really impressive win, but it's something you can put on the shelf a little bit. Now that they're actually showing some life and beating LSU, they beat the hell out of Kentucky. I mean, it's worthwhile. That's a tough win. Like Georgia had a real tough time in Florida. Florida's a tough team when they have any QB play. So I'm real proud of that win.
Yeah. Well, I just and we're going to get to the good and the bad here in a minute. We're going to talk about. I wrote it down. I wrote down what I thought was good last night and what I thought was bad, basically of all the positions on the field of our team. I mean, we could just get into it right now, okay? I got the good and I got the bad. Which one do you want first, the good or the bad?
Good.
Which one do you want? The good?
All
right, let's start off the good. I'm going to read these off, and you give me your opinion, Austin, if you agree or disagree. I wrote down the good. Nico was good. The running backs were good. The tight ends were good. And the offensive line was good. All those things played really well. Nico played really, really well in that environment. I thought he was pretty poised the whole night. He didn't really have I guess you could say rookie freshman mistake until the end, which you said is desperation. But he seemed pretty poised. When he needed to run, he ran. When he needed to keep the ball and look downfield, he did that. I thought he played pretty solid. I mean, look at his jersey at the very end of the game. The dude balled out, in my opinion. But I got Nico, running backs, tight ends, O-line. Would you agree with that?
The offensive line had a few bad spots, but overall it was good. They had a few just completely missed blocks, but that ended drives for us. But overall, it was better than I thought it would look. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nico was good. I thought he played well. Dylan Sampson, and I'm blanking.
Lewis.
Yeah, Peyton Lewis. Peyton Lewis and Dylan Sampson played really well. I thought the running backs did really well. I'm pretty sure Dylan Sampson had 19 carries for 101 yards. I kind of wish he would have gotten the ball just a little bit more because I felt like he was kind of gashing Georgia pretty much all night, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't criticize.
He was gas.
I did like Peyton Lewis looked good out there though. He did look good when they had him in. Man, he's gonna be a beast next year. He's got a big ass body, man. He can punish some dudes. He's got a linebacker frame.
He's fast too.
Maybe they were trying to pace themselves. They feel like maybe Dylan Sampson doesn't have to get beat to hell and back every game.
Well, here's what I told you before the game. You got to do what you got to do in this game because next game you got UTEP. You could literally play your third string and beat UTEP. You needed to play your best players, give your best players the ball as many times as you possibly could in this game. And next week, guess what? Put them on a count. Put them on a snap count because you ain't going to really need them that much next week.
I know, but I'm talking about in the game. Like if you keep your guys fresh all game. I don't
know. No. You don't play that bull crap. You're here to beat Georgia. You're here to get in the playoffs. If you're a coach, you're not looking at carries. Like, why would you take carries away from your best player? That's just stupid. I don't think he did, but he should have given more. I know his 19 carries is still like a little chunk of carries, but all season you've been giving Dylan Sampson the rock 30 times a game, and this is the game you decide not to when he's gashing Georgia.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but you are correct. We should have given him the ball more.
Yeah. Because they're not going to need him next week. So it's like,
do you feel like anything on defense was that good? I feel like McCoy was pretty good. I feel like the D line for the most part. I was a little disappointed in the D line's performance.
I thought the defensive backs played fine. I thought they played fine. I mean, as the linebacker play was where they kept gashing us over the middle with the number 4 and all of those guys, the tight ends, because there was no linebacker in the middle really. It was just kind of wide open. And someone brought up the point a little while ago in the comments. I would have to go back and find it, but they said, do you think we rushed only 4 because of our DB play is not very good? No, that's not it. That's not it at all. Our DBs are fine. They're fine. They're not bad DBs. They make a lot of plays out there. They're not bad DBs. So I don't think that is the case or reason at all. I just think for some odd reason, our defensive staff does this every time we need to win a crucial game. Did it against Florida. Did it against Georgia last night. It continues to happen, and it blows my freaking mind.
I'll give them a similar game plan. Ole Miss went in with a similar game plan. They only rushed 4, except their guys were able to beat the hell out of.
They're getting to
they got to him. We couldn't get to him with 4, and that's frustrating.
Exactly. So why not try something?
Yeah, exactly.
And I know Georgia isn't. I know Georgia's not sitting there like just lighting up the scoreboard, but they're moving the ball right down the field because Carson Beck is just back there just picking who he wants to throw to.
And we are not adjusting.
You're not adjusting. Like, make adjustments. And again, I'm not a coach. I'm not X's and O's. But you watch the game and you can just say, hey, he's seen it back there for a long time. Why don't we try something with maybe some corner blitzes or something?
You might leave a
wide receiver. Yeah.
We used to do it more. We used to do it more. I don't know. I feel like this season we've kind of just relied on the D line getting there. But in like past years, we really would rush a lot because we had no faith in the DBs. So we had to get the guy down before he could ever get the ball off. That's what we should have done with Beck. I mean, you're not going to win a game scoring 17 points. I mean, maybe we would. I don't know. but it's.
Someone made a post, and I'm going to get to the bad here in a little bit. But someone made a post of looking at our offense in 2022 with Hendon Hooker. And I get Hendon Hooker was just like a once-in-a-lifetime, like, great quarterback. I get that. But the shots down the field, why can't we do that? Like, this offense looks so much different than any other Josh Heupel. And it could be goalish. It could be. But this offense, it's so conservative, it seems like now. And I get because of the run game, Dylan Sampson's a beast. I get it. You're going to hand it off to him. But you took one shot downfield the whole game. You took one shot. What happened on that one shot downfield, Austin?
Yeah, PI.
What happened? You got a PI. Automatic first down. And then you never did it again. And here's the thing. We were talking about this before we got on here also. Gaston Moore comes in last week, and he just starts launching the ball up in the air. Launching it. And I think it was back-to-back PIs on the defense. Back-to-back PIs when we toss it up. But then Nico comes in there, and we don't do anything. Like, why does he call it so different? And you can't tell me because, he doesn't know the playbook. It doesn't take a genius to say, hey, Nico can make throws too. Nico can launch it down the field just like Gaston did. But when Nico comes in the game, it's such a different play calling. I don't get it. He can do the same thing. It doesn't take much to throw it down the field.
You don't think that when Gaston comes in, the defense starts preparing for the run, and so that opens everything up for the run? And
no, those guys covering. No.
I'm just saying.
Those guys covering our wide receivers.
defenses are going to defend you a little different if Gaston Moore's in the game. I'm just going to tell you that. That's a fact. So that would open all that up. That's just what I'm. That's what I would think.
No, that is no. I 100% disagree with
What?
that. Because when Nico's in there, they're running more than any time ever. They run the ball more. So you put gas in there, you think they're going to change it? They're running less or running more? No, they run the ball so much when Nico's in there. They don't take shots downfield. So why would the defense play different? Because Gaston's in there.
If you put in a
All of them.
quarterback that doesn't really, I mean, a walk on QB, they're going to think you're just going to run the ball, especially with a lead. I think they're going to think you're going to be conservative, and that opens all that up. So Heupel says, "Let's pass it." I think we're passing it down the field less because teams are defending us different than they have in the past years. That NC State defense that they threw up at us, that really threw Nico through a loop, and it wouldn't have thrown anyone through a loop. It's kind of shutting down what we need to run, and teams have adjusted to us. But when we do put a backup in, it opens things up because everyone thinks we're just going to run it. That's just my.
I guess I 1,000,000% disagree with that because
why?
The defense knows you're going to because the defense knows you're going to run the ball a lot with Nico. So how is that like? So you're saying like, oh,
well, they're preparing for both.
So you're going to say, oh, a backup quarterback comes in and they're also going to start preparing for the run. When Nico's in the game, they run more than any team. So they're preparing for the run then. So what makes this any different? It doesn't.
We play call. Our play calls are based on what the defense is giving us. If they go a light box, we're going to run it. If they give a stacked box, we're going to pass it. And when we put the backup quarterback in, they think, okay, we don't have to worry about the passes much anymore. Because I know we run a lot, but that's because they're trying to defend both. But when we put a backup in, they're probably going to think, oh, they're going to definitely run it right now. They don't trust this guy, and this guy isn't as athletic as this Polynesian princess. I mean, that's just simple chess and checkers right there. I mean, it's pretty simple thinking that you would think the backup quarterback if like Peyton Manning goes down and they're up by 14, the Colts, and they put the backup in, they're not gonna think, oh, they're gonna pass it now. The backup's in. No, they're gonna think you're going to stay on the ground a little more because you're less comfortable with this guy. This guy's a backup for a reason.
But he was launching it all over the field, so you can't tell me that
because he was launching it because we game plan we play call based on what the defense is giving us.
The defense was on him every time, the wide receiver every time. So you're telling me that it
was one-on-one. It was one-on-one.
Those are high safety. It was high safety on several of those throws. So no,
yeah, there was against Bama
at all.
There was
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't remember every. I can't sit here and tell you that I remember all of it. But I'm just gonna go ahead and guess that we were doing that more because the defense is giving us that. But that's what it is.
Our friend Kennedy chimes in. In my opinion, y'all are running against the stacked boxes as well. See, thank you, Kennedy. I agree. That's my main point. It's not changing. It's not changing. So why can't Nico launch it down the field too? It just
we do run against stacked boxes. We do run against stacked boxes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that there you don't see the thinking there that if a backup quarterback comes in, they're gonna think that you're.
I get 100% what you're saying. I get 100% what you're saying. I totally get that. But when Nico hands the ball off more than most quarterbacks in the entire SEC, they're going to be playing a stacked box. They're going to be playing that stuff. So I get your logic, but I don't get it because they know that Tennessee's a run first team. They know. So when a backup comes in, they're not going to really change their defense if they think he's going to hand it off every time because we already do that almost all the time. So that's where my logic is coming from. And Kennedy's is exactly right. We run against stacked boxes. So I get what you're saying, but that doesn't change the fact that we're already running that before a backup comes in. You see what I'm saying? We're already doing that.
I agree. Yeah, I can see it. I also think, well, Georgia, we tried to take a lot of deep shots against Georgia in 22, and hardly any of them can develop because our quarterback was on the ground before he can get the ball off. And I think that they were trying to just do quick stuff most of the night, even though I think we could have gotten some big stuff off. And I
Mhm.
honestly think he doesn't trust the receivers because they dropped every one of them against Kentucky and games like that. I mean, it's frustrating as hell.
Do you agree with that
And
comment?
Nico does overthrow him sometimes too.
Yeah, well,
And
of course, but you got to take shots.
I think we're gonna be frustrated as hell being second and 10, third and 10.
Okay, but he overthrows him sometimes, but sometimes he doesn't. So Kennedy chimes in again. Josh doesn't trust his freshman. Do you agree with that? Doesn't trust freshmen.
Mm,
Kind of starts to
um,
seem like that.
I'm not saying he doesn't trust him. I think we came in with a game plan, and I don't think our offensive game plan was that bad.
No, I didn't think it was bad either. I thought it was pretty good. I think we could have ran a little bit more because of the success
I
that
thought you wanted deep
Dylan Sanders.
shots.
No, I said we should have ran a little bit more when he's gashing the defense. But yeah, take shots. That's going to open the run even more.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like have a balance there. You get what I'm saying? Have a balance. Don't just take one shot, two shots doesn't work. Oh, we're not going to go back to that. You've got to continue to do it. You just that's how plays are made.
Isn't it
That's just
crazy? That was actually the best offensive performance Heupel's ever had against Georgia.
yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty
Like,
crazy. All right,
and
let's
it's the
get
worst offense he's really put out there.
we talked about the good. The good. Let's recap it real quick. The good was Nico, the running backs, the tight ends, and the O line. I thought all those played pretty well. I think Nico would have get hit twice or something like that, two or three times the whole game. He didn't get touched much, and he did a good job of running. Nico did a good job of running. Finally running when he was rolling out of the pocket. He finally took off and ran like he hadn't done it all season. Okay, so Nico, running back, tight ends, O-line. That's the good for me. In the bad, Austin, linebackers, wide receivers, defensive line. And for me, coaching, the defensive coaching, awful. Linebackers, Keenan Pili we're really starting to miss him. You're starting to see it. Wide receivers, my God, catch the damn ball. Deontay Thornton,
Yeah.
I fully believe that Deontay Thornton drop was the swing in the game because Tennessee was just rolling down the field.
What's crazy is I kind of thought he had the best hands on the team coming into the game. I think he like had the highest reception percentage on balls targeted on the team. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
And so our linebackers, which is what we're talking about, Christopher brings up a comment. We didn't know where Delp was all night. Yep. We did not know where he was all night. And that's the linebacker.
We didn't adjust.
Nope.
We didn't adjust. We didn't adjust at all. I that's all on the defensive staff. I think that's something we've seen from Tim Banks time and time again. He just keeps running his head against the wall. And I'm not saying it was a bad game plan overall, but you got to adjust when teams start beating you with the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to just stick with what's not working.
Agreed.
I will say though, if you come out like this, like with this kind of intensity in the Arkansas game on offense and everything, you're going to beat the living hell out of them.
Yeah.
And it really does show that this team, Nico, really mainly, and the whole team overall, has gotten a lot better throughout the year.
Yeah.
Each week they are improving on offense mainly. Defense was probably better at the start because Keenan was healthy, but it's a good team. We got a good team. We do have a good team. I was very proud when it was 17-17 at halftime because it truly felt like we were on the road in a big heavyweight SEC fight and we were standing tall the whole time. And we just came up short. Yeah, it was 14 points, but you know that it's weird. We lost by I think like a similar margin in 22, but you could sit there and say, that score really doesn't dictate how the game went. But here, I can say honestly, that score doesn't dictate how this game went. I think this really was a one possession game.
Well,
it felt like it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the 2022 game. That was an absolute just butt whooping. We couldn't do. We looked awful. They made us look awful. And in this game, I said at the beginning of the podcast, these were two heavyweights battling it out. And at the very end, Georgia pulls away just because I just believe that they're just a better team. They pulled away. But yeah,
In Neal Stadium, they lose.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think Georgia, Bama, and Tennessee are all on the same page, and depending on where you play them, because it can't be understated how hard it is to win in that environment as a road team. I mean, you're not getting a single call to go your way. Everything, all the false. Oh, it's really hard. It hardly ever happens. That's why. I mean, how many SEC teams have won on the road outside? I guess Georgia did win at Texas, but it's a really hard thing to do. It's a really, really hard thing to do. And I'm not really, I don't feel worse about this team after this, or I don't feel like we're a worse team than I thought. I actually think a little better of us because of what I saw in the first half. It's the first time we really were able to move the ball solidly on Georgia in all of Heupel's tenure. I don't get these people who act like we got our ass beat.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. There's so many people who are like, oh man, they just got absolutely destroyed. No, they didn't. What game were you watching?
Did you watch the game?
Go back and watch it. It was a heavyweight fight for 3.5 quarters. Heavyweight fight.
We took a punch we gave a punch. They took a punch, then they gave a punch, and the home team's probably going to win a game like that. If it feels very even for a lot of the game, the home team's usually going to come out on top because they're going to get the 50-50 calls, and the crowd's going to be behind them when they're needing to score. I'm a real believer in that. I'm not really like, if we play that game 3 more times, we probably win 1 or 2 of them. We're pretty freaking even. I really feel that way. And Nico's gonna be so much better next year, but this year ain't over. And honest to God, we could see Georgia again. That's a possibility. I mean, if obviously we're not 100% in the playoff, it's about a coin flip now. Assuming we obviously could beat UTEP, and we need to put on a show in Nashville against Vandy to demand we get in that playoff. Like, we need some style points. That's what needs to happen. We need to break 40.
I hate to tell you, but this team is what it is. That's not going to happen. That's not happening. I mean, we've sat here and said every week, this is a game, dude.
They dropped 3 touchdowns, man. It was there. It was all developed. All they do is hold on. And you have that performance against Kentucky.
It is what it is by this point. Like, you're not just going to flip a switch, buddy. You're just not going to flip a switch and it's also just going to click. This team is what it is. You just got to face it. The offense is what it is.
No,
it's not. It's not. Then why the hell is it the same thing all season? If that's not what it is,
it's getting better each week. Scoring 17 on Georgia is like scoring 40 on Kentucky.
Bryant chimes in. Georgia dropped touchdowns too. Thank you. Tennessee
they also were allowed to PI, hold, and tackle our receivers before they got the ball.
Georgia dropped 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns.
I'm just saying this offense is getting better.
I'm not disagreeing. But to sit here and say, we need a blowout before, it's not happening. We're not blowing someone out.
You could blow out Vandy. Vandy still has Vandy in there.
We couldn't even blow out Mississippi State. And
if we played Vandy last night, we were blowing Vandy out the face of the earth. That offense was ready to go, but just couldn't. Georgia's really good defense. And we're on the road.
I just don't think there's going to be some magical game where we put up 55 against some team. I just don't think it's happening. This offense is what it is. This is week 10, week 11. It's not going to just change overnight. It's not. Maybe next year it might, because
it's getting better though. I'm not disagreeing. We're getting closer and closer and closer to actually hitting on all cylinders, and we eventually will do that. I'm confident if you keep improving, you'll eventually get to where you need to be. And because
Sport chimes in. Mississippi State dropped 31 on UGA. Rating is right.
So you don't,
buddy. Open your eyes. This offense is what it is. It is what it is.
So you think it's literally impossible for us to put 40 on Vandy?
That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying
you just said that
it is, and you're not going to sit here and drop. Like, you act like this offense is just going to click, dude. They've had all season to click. It's not just going to click. It's getting better. Like you said, it's getting better every week. But this team is not a blow people out offense. It's just not what it is. We're a run-first team. I'm sorry. We took 2 shots down the field last night for a freaking reason. For what reason? I don't know why. I don't know why. It is what it is. I'm sorry, but we're not going to sit here and just light the scoreboard up. We're in week 10. This is not week 3, not week 2. This offense is what it is right now. And it's just not going to, our receivers are not giving us any help. Deontay Thornton dropping the ball. The wide receiver course terrible. And this is why it's on my bad list. Wide receivers have been awful. Been terrible. Brew McCoy is the only one that has been legit. And why isn't he throwing to Brew McCoy more? Like
Thornton was legit outside that drop.
That needs to be your primary target is Brew McCoy. Primary target. He's big. He can catch it. He's got hands. That needs to be your main guy. And I don't know why I'm getting frustrated, but it's on the map on the same map as what you said. Of we had this great defense, and our offense just is a dud. Not a dud, but just not great. That's why you've gotten mad so mad over this past year, and we've only lost 2 games, but you kind of saw if this keeps trending in the way it does, you're going to drop some games against really good teams, and that's what happened against Georgia. Our offense is what it is. We're not going to make those explosive plays over and over and over again because we don't run them.
I think defense have adjusted to us. That's a big part of it.
Might be.
That's a big part of it. That 3-3-5, we don't know what to do with it. It kind of shuts. I mean, we just go the run, but that's kind of that's why we're not getting the big explosive plays. They give us a little shit, and we get to the red zone. And I think we had a series where in the past 4 games 4 games in the first half we got inside the 35-yard line 10 times, and we only got a field goal 1 time, and we somehow got stopped 9 of those times.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't know. Our offense just isn't very good. We don't have the wide receivers.
Yeah, it's crazy though. Heupel was telling everyone this is the deepest receiver room he's ever had for the year.
And I know that he's a freshman. Everyone keeps chiming, but why can't you put Mike Matthews in just to see?
Yeah,
when you have receivers dropping the balls left and right, and I'm not sitting here. I'm not mad. This is what we do on this show. This is what most people do on their shows, and they nitpick. That's what you do to your favorite team. You're going to nitpick them. You want them to be better, so you're going to get mad when they're not as good as they could potentially be. And you're right, Austin. They could line up if they played them 3 more times and beat them. Tennessee was a couple plays away from beating Georgia, but those plays just seem to never happen. They never occur.
We beat Bama. We beat Bama. I mean, we do have that happen. We beat teams,
but we didn't light the score up against Bama. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're not lighting the score. But you're not gonna. It's not gonna.
I'm not saying we're gonna do that against Georgia. I'll never sit here and say we're gonna light the world up against Georgia. I'm saying we could. I'm saying we could and we need to. That's what I'm saying.
Vandy keeps it close. Literally with
they probably will, but they
keep it close with every team they played. There hasn't a team there's not one team in this country that has blown them out. That's put up a whole lot of points because they play a style where they kind of chew up the clock.
Yeah, they do.
And they don't let you do that. And Vandy's going to be tough. I still
think we need to force a couple turnovers. Oh, we hope. Let's pray to God their backup QB's in. I'm just saying we need to have a good eye test or a good looking game for the love of God.
I agree. I 100% agree. Christopher Chon's back in, says since we weren't taking shots downfield, I want to know why we went away from Miles Kitselman. You know what? I don't know why we don't lose our tight ends more. I thought,
huge 3rd down catch.
Yeah, I thought coming into the season. Yeah, you're right. But I thought coming into the season, you watched Nico play against Iowa in that bowl game, and he was obsessed with Colin Castles. He was obsessed with him. He went to him every single time. He just could not go away from him. He loved the tight ends. I don't know. I'm confused with the play calling and the offense. Like, I'm just confused with it. I'm not mad. I'm not pissed. It's why. It's just dull. I don't know. It's just I'm just mad because we could have beaten Georgia, but it felt like we just kind of. I know Georgia adjusted; they did, but when other teams adjust, does it not seem like we kind of take the foot off the gas, Austin? We get conservative, kind of, a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Like
we're
we
really
think,
scared to turn it over.
like we think too much. Yeah, like we think too much. Stop thinking so much and just do it. That's what I was meaning about Gasson Moore. It's like I know he's a backup, but he comes in, he's not thinking, he's just doing it. And I know he's a backup for a reason, but I don't know.
I think next year you'll see a lot better from Nico in these kind of spots. I think
Oh,
he'll have more trust in him, and
oh, I do.
they'll open up the playbook and be able to
Yeah.
actually have a lot of fun. And I think this receiving core limits you too. I feel like, I mean, we might have these shots open, but how do we know they're going to be hit?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and Nico has. I'll criticize the hell out of him right now because he's overthrown open receivers too. He's had
Mhm.
wide open receivers in the end zone and just throws over their head. We had so many shots up against Bama that we could have had 4 touchdowns in the first half against Bama, but we had 0 points because we missed open passes. I will say though, it is getting better, and
Oh no. Yeah.
I know that we are close to having that day where everything works finally, because it's just one thing or another, but it's getting better and you're improving. Like it's like a kid, like it's like first test he got a D, second test he got a C minus, next test he got a C plus.
Mhm.
He's getting a B minus, and now he might next time get an A plus. The tests get a little harder at times, and that'll affect his score, but it's what it is. But really though, this team, we gotta have things fall our way. We need to get in this
Mhm.
playoff. We gotta get in the playoff because I do think this team is getting better week by week. And if you get a team like that into this playoff, they can actually make things happen. I'll say it right now, as much as people want to jump on me and say, "Oh, you're crazy." This is still a year of just a not that good college football, and this team could win a national title if it snuck into the playoff. It could.
No.
It
No,
still could.
I don't think you're crazy at all. They can. Here, I got 2 back-to-back comments I want to read real quick. Bryant leaves a comment saying every Jeremy Pruitt team had a lead against even Jerry Pruitt teams had a lead against Georgia going into halftime. Kirby Smart is just a better at halftime adjustments than Josh Heupel. So how is it getting better? Bryant, it is getting better. I'm not trying to like come at you or anything, but if you can't see that, like especially Nico, his poise just looks better. You know what I mean? He doesn't look
Is
as shaken up. He's more calm. It seems like he's kind of getting it a little bit more. His throws, his timing. I wouldn't say his timing, but his confidence when he throws seems a little bit better.
decision making's been absolutely
That's what I mean. Decision making. It's getting
knowing
better.
when to run.
Yeah. So Brian, it's getting better in that aspect.
He's way different from the guy that ran out of bounds against Arkansas.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a different player, and
It's literally just been a month.
and the next comment is from Megan. Our coaches cannot put together a complete game plan. That's true. That's true.
I feel
You
like we
can't.
had a great game plan from both sides against Bama, but things just didn't work in the first half.
It seems like the majority of the season. She's right. A complete game plan when the other team adjusts, they don't really know how to adjust. So yeah, I mean that's true. They got to learn. A lot of things got to be learned. And again, I think this team this program. They've got us in a top 10 position, top 10 team in the country. Basically, it seems like almost every year we're ranked. Every year, it's going the right direction. And I said earlier that we're a heavyweight type team. We've gone from a finesse type team to a bully team. That's what we've gone to. So they're putting their roster together so we can push people around and not be finesse. Josh Heupel's first couple years, it was all finesse. We didn't have the bodies. We didn't have the dudes. But
We've gone from a team that had to we were just solid all over on offense. There's no joke about that. That was an elite offense, but we had nothing on defense and no depth on the O line. No, I mean it was just we were we had our guys on offense, and they had to carry it all and just pray the defense held it together with duct tape, and we could win a game maybe. But now, Grim Shadow says 8 losses straight against Georgia is concerning. Though, how long do you let that trend continue? Grim Shadow, everyone but Ole Miss and Alabama have a streak against Georgia losing. It's not exclusive to us. We're all trying to beat Georgia, really.
Georgia's a new Bama. That's what they are.
Except somehow Bama still beats them every time,
Well,
which makes no sense.
But you get what I'm saying. They're the new big dog in town. The cycle's circled out. Saban left. Kirby Smart's the new Saban. That's just how it's going to be.
I mean, Texas, almost got them. If that game's at Neyland Stadium, I think we win. I will say for certain. We win that game by at least 7 points. I'm pretty freaking surefire there. I do think we are on the same plane as them. Those are two equal teams playing, and they just happen to get the better half of that. And most of that streak is Jeremy Pruitt and Butch. So I'm not worried about a streak. Georgia. Each year we get a little closer to them. This is the best we've been ever against them, and it was in their house at night. I mean, in a winner take all game, back against the wall. I mean, literally, we had Georgia when they're gonna in the most murder mode they're ever gonna get in. So that's the if we, I don't know, if that game's at noon and their backs now against the wall, we might pull that one out.
Yeah, Grim Shadow responds back to what we said. He says, "I'm having a hard time not disagreeing with this. You are the team Georgia was under Mark Richt." I'm having a hard time not disagreeing with that right now because yes, that it's very similar. 10-2, 9-3 every year. It seems like I can't say every year because I'm only here for like 4 seasons, but
dude,
I as we sit here right now, yes.
What do y'all want? How do you think how do you upgrade from this? He took over one of the worst situations in the country, a team that had just cycled through 3 coaches and hit more players hit the portal than ever. He had to build this up. You weren't going to just snap it back together overnight. I mean, Ole Miss kind of did something similar to that, but Lane Kiffin's a pretty damn good coach, and they beat him at home. I think we would have beat this team at home. I think we're close to getting to that level. I think we're trending in that direction. I think it doesn't happen overnight, and
so he's a Georgia fan, so he's chiming in with that comment. But as of right now, I don't disagree with him because we talk about a lot of time that Josh Heupel seems to drop a stupid game every year, and if he didn't drop the stupid game at Arkansas, we're not having this conversation. So until that stops, he's right almost. Until that stops. And until we have a season where we just don't have a dumb loss, like a stupid one where we should have won, like we were the better team, we were the better everything. Until that happens, I mean, that makes sense. So, but until that time, I mean, you're going to be a 9-3, 10-2 team, which is not terrible. I'm not hating on it. I mean, where we were and where we're at now, like I love it. I'm happy. I'm not pissed off. We're sitting here getting mad, which is a good thing that we're getting mad. That we're that itch away, that one little hump away.
It's year 4.
I know, but we're still there, which is crazy. But we're just that one bump away. Just get over that little bump. We're one bump away, and you can't let that bump keep coming back. Like you got to get over it. Get over the bump. Get over that hump. You cannot let that thing keep getting you every year. And there's a trend. So I'm backing up with facts.
Here's why I'm not freaking out.
I'm not freaking out either. No.
Or I'm not ready to write off or put any kind of label. I hate labels because it's just they're stupid. They're worthless. You don't know things for certain. Each year under Heupel, we have gotten closer to becoming a true SEC heavyweight. Year 1 is year 1, and we saw actually some really good things in the offense. Year 2. Offense was freaking amazing, and defense held together sometimes. In 23, obviously, Joe Milton was a flawed QB and whatnot, but you saw a big upgrade on the defensive side. The DBs were still bad, but you saw a big upgrade. Now, we're pretty good at DB. Linebacker, if Peely doesn't get hurt, this is a really elite. That's a really elite unit. D line's deep as hell, with true SEC high level guys, and this is the best defense you've had. Offense though, it's a very high ceiling offense. I truly believe, but it's stuff that just hasn't gone into place for some reason
Mhm.
or another, and that's on Heupel. It's on Heupel. Why is the offense so bad? Um, that's for him to fix, and he has to figure it out. And I don't think I'm not ready to write. I still think you could have a team that's just super elite and wins a national championship under Heupel. I still think that is his, like, if you put that 22 offense on this team, I truly think we are the best team in the country without a
Mhm.
shadow of a doubt. And I know he can do that again. I know for a fact that Heupel can put that 22 an offense like the 22 one together again, and he might next season. And we keep getting better, and if we get into a playoff, maybe things will just start working, uh,
Mhm.
because they keep getting better. Each week we get closer and closer, and maybe we get in a playoff, it all
Well,
just snaps together.
I don't think anybody's freaking. No one's freaking out. We're just
I don't
we're
like saying you're Mark Rick Georgia. We don't know that yet. Don't shut
no.
the fuck up, man. We don't know.
Well, no. I get what he's saying though,
No,
because
don't.
we do lose that stupid game every season, and I just said until we get over that and not do that, he's correct. He's correct. It's going to be 9-3, 10-2. That's what he's saying. If we continue to lose a game, and it's a pattern, that's not taking a shot. It's a fact. Like that is a legit fact. You can't get mad at a fact.
I mean, Fulmer
I'm
did
just
the
telling
same
you.
thing.
I'm just telling you the truth. It's
Fulmer
a
lost to Memphis with Peyton Manning.
okay. I don't care about Fulmer. I'm talking about
Well,
right now. I'm talking about right now.
why do you
If
gotta put such an ugly label on something?
I'm not putting, it's not. That's a fact. It's not a label. How is
It's not a
it's
fact.
that he drops a game he's not supposed to every year? Are you high? Are you stoned? He
Well,
does it every year.
he's done that,
I'm not. I'm
yes,
not. I'm not
but
taking a shot.
I'm not putting the label. This is who you are. I
No, me
hate that
either.
shit.
Me either. I'm just saying that I'm not. That's slapping a label is something that you don't know anything about. You just slap a label on it. This is not slapping a label. This is right now. It's facts. And until he gets over that little hump of not losing to a team he's not supposed to, you're going to be 9-3, 10-2. That's what he's saying. Until that day comes where we have a season where it just we bulldoze through people that we're supposed to beat, like we're going to be 9-3, 10-2. That's going to be a fact.
It'd be
So
insane to expect that kind of thing by year 4, though. This is a perfectly normal building. Like, it's perfectly normal where we're at, and that, yeah, we're a little flawed at times.
mhm.
It's perfectly normal. I mean, I'm just
Yeah, I get it.
we have our flaws. They're understandable though. They're a work in progress. It's You're not going to hit everything overnight. I
No.
do think though, where we are in defense, that can be maintained pretty steadily. I think we're going to have a defense about this level most seasons. Well,
I don't think
it's
the
good.
defense is really.
It'll take a step back next year, probably a little bit. I mean, this is a really good level we're at. Yeah, they had a bad night against Georgia, but overall, this is a very good unit, and it might take a little bit of a step back next season
Mhm.
because you're losing Pierce and Omari Thomas and Omar Norman Lott and a lot of guys like that. But you get another year McCoy. You're gonna Bucard will have another year to develop. Jordan Ross is gonna have another year. He'll be a beast. David Hobbs is gonna get better. I think. I think we're. I just think this is fine. This is good right now. I mean, this is where we should be,
Oh,
and I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not gonna say Mark Rick Georgia. I'm just not gonna say it because Mark Rick Georgia is a guy that can never get out of his own way.
that's not what he's saying. He's saying until like what I just said. He's saying until you get over that hump, you're going to be 9-3, 10-2, just like Mark
Well,
Richt was, because he dropped a stupid game every year. Until you move past that, that's what he's saying.
why can't we be Nick Saban LSU?
That's
That's
what
what.
he's. That's what he's saying. He's not trashing. We're not trashing. He's a Georgia fan. He's been through it. He's seen through it. I listen
That's
to other.
trashing.
No, it's not.
They're trying to put a label on Heupel saying you're Mark Rick. That's what they
He,
want. That's what they're doing right now. And you'll never get over the hump. That's what they're trying to say. That's what
he
he's trying
said
to say.
he chimed back in the comments said every year we lost a game that Georgia shouldn't under Richt.
I know, but
Whether it be Vandy or South Carolina, we always had that one loss. I can't. where no one's slapping a label on it.
But that's different because he was at the top of his echelon and just kept finding ways to lose. Those kind of games. I don't think we've reached our peak yet. That's my point.
No, I don't think we have either. But
I feel like he's trying to put the label on Heupel, saying you're always going to be this guy. You're always going to drop that game, no matter what you do. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't think that's written in stone. I think this is similar to. I mean, you're building this program up from the ground. It's really what's happening. And until we get to that top level, this is going to be a little bit imperfect. Things are going to happen. Our best day, no one's beating us. On our worst day, a team like Arkansas, the road could beat us. I mean, and I think we play that game again. I think we win because I think we got better throughout the year. But
I'm not disagreeing there. We definitely got better. I do think Nico's taken a lot of steps forward. I think he's going to be a whole lot better next season. So I'm not saying that at all. But I can't disagree. I'm not calling for him to say he is Mark Richt. I agree with you, Austin. Like, you can't label him as Mark Richt because he's only been there for 4 seasons. When he's there for if he's there for 10 and he's still doing this, yes, that's correct. But he has dropped the game every single year he's not supposed to. So
James Franklin's Mark Richt.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's been there for
actually
8 or 9 years.
Actually, it may be a little worse because it's easier to do that at Penn State than Georgia.
Yeah. Well, all right. We got to wrap this podcast up because I've got to go to the basketball game. Tennessee plays Austin.
Well, for a few minutes, let's just break down where we are in the playoff.
I can't. I got to go.
Okay.
The game starts at 3, and it is.
Well,
it is two.
That was a big part of this, but okay.
What?
Nothing.
Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, seriously, just do it real quick.
Okay, well, I think what we need to happen right now next week is we need Florida to take down Ole Miss. That would make everything a lot simpler. And Bama's probably gonna, and Auburn could take down Bama. You're gonna need an upset for you to get in, I think. And I think we will get it. I think if you put a gun to my head, I think we find a way in. And I think they look at how we perform against teams like Georgia, and we do have a win over Bama. I don't know why head to head we're going to be choosing over Bama, but because a loss to Vandy is worse than a loss at Arkansas in my mind, because Arkansas is a really tough place to play, and I don't know why everyone forgets Kentucky beat Ole Miss. But gun to my head, I do think we find a way in, but we'll break that down more next weekend.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we can get in if some people lose, like BYU lost. So, Indiana's probably going to lose Ohio State. So
BYU doesn't do anything for us, though, because, actually, it could help us because if they, the winner of the Big 12 is guaranteed a seed. So if BYU wins the Big 12, then it's all a moot point, and they're just in no matter what. But if they, let's just say they lose, they don't win the Big 12, then I'm pretty sure they're just kicked to the curbside.
Oh, yeah.
And we need Ohio State to beat the living hell out of Indiana.
I think they will. I honestly think they will. But
Army could beat Notre Dame. That could help a lot, too.
Yeah. We'll see. But, all right. Sorry to cut it short. Basketball game. We got to go to it. But, like you said, we'll talk more about it next week. We'll get more in depth with it because we'll have a better picture.
Yeah.
We'll have a better picture of it. It's kind of hard to talk about it right now when we don't have any results or anything, because it comes out on Wednesday or Thursday. But
Tuesday.
Thursday. Okay.
Tuesday.
Okay. So we'll talk about it next week. So a lot of things will change. Because when we have our podcast next Sunday, we'll know a whole lot more, especially a whole lot more come that time. But all right, man, had fun. We'll do it again soon. Hopefully the Vols will take care of also P tonight, which I think they will. So
yeah, I'm gonna say I'm pretty safe with that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. We'll do it again next week. Go Vols. Peace out. God bless.